Hello, guys. So, I've got a few things I have to get to do today that's gonna take me a bit out of town, but it's just a day trip. So, long story short, I have two pets, but the rental here where I am doesn't have enough space for my pets. So, I have a brother in law in the area, and so he's keeping my dogs for me. But he's been keeping them for a while now, but he's a really good guy. So he's going out of town, so I have to head up there to take care of the dogs and go, hang out with the dogs. So I'm going to be up there for a little bit until my brother-in-law gets back in town. And he lives quite a little bit of a distance from me. So, but I don't have my tea. I'm going to get it and take it on the road. I did do my quiet time. I'm going to finish up a little bit more quiet time here before I go. But I have just been in a somber mood. I have really been in a somber mood today. And no, it's not because of my supplementation. It's because of the news. The news. I keep saying I got to turn the TV off. I got to watch other stuff. But I've been watching, like I think a lot of people have been watching the major news we've got going on right now in the States with two young teens. I won't name them, but I think you know what I'm talking about. I might name them. Why not? And it's just sad business all around because you've got two lives that are really destroyed. One permanently gone. The family can't have him anymore. And the other one is put on pause, for at least, I think, 17 years, something like that. And it just made me really sad. And I happened to be watching YouTube, trying to avoid the news cycle. And this podcaster caught my attention, and I can't even remember his name. Something Felon. And he has a podcast, and he's very engaging. And so I was listening to him, and he was mentioning what he felt the young man who is now going to have to do time for what he did. He was talking about how he felt the young man was feeling right now because he said he'd gone through the same thing. He had been, in jail, incarcerated for about 17 years. And something just stuck with me. He said, I know how that young man's feeling right now. He's like, after all that he had to go through, because there's medical work you got to go through, there's lots of paperwork you've got to sign. And I'm thinking, I didn't even consider any of that. He's like, you're losing your clothes, you feel like you're losing yourself. And at the end of all of it, you're in your jail cell when that door slams, clank, and you're sitting there on the edge of your bed. You're thinking, what did I do? How did I get here? Why did I do that? And I thought to myself, you're right. That young man is not thinking, well, I guess I showed him. But they won't touch me again. He's not thinking any of that. That young man has clarity now. He has clarity. And it's extremely unfortunate that he has to do that time. And it is even more unfortunate that a young man has had his life snuffed out and his family can't have any more memories with him, and his twin brother can't have any more memories with him. And it got me thinking, because this is an executive functioning challenges channel, and it just makes me realize that you don't have to have a diagnosis of ADHD or autism or anything like that to have difficulty with thinking, with your processes, and with being able to have insight about a situation and judgment and impulse control. And I thought I wanted to talk about that a little bit today. Now, my husband may come in here, and if he does, then I'll just pause it and we'll hop back on. But that's my thing. I deal with executive functioning disorders and executive functioning as far as myself goes every day of my life. And it just made me realize that we have a lot of people, particularly young people, who may not be learning those necessary skills to the extent that they need to be learning them. And it can get them in a lot of trouble. All right, sorry about that. My husband came in. He got scratched by a cat, y'all. I had to go and get some hydrogen peroxide and, we got to watch it, but I think he's going to be fine. A stray cat in the neighborhood that they feed him next door, and I kind of fed him the other day, so that's kind of why he was over here. But anyway, I digress. So we were talking about some executive functioning skills that we need to sort of really make sure that our young people are developing. And, if you're one of those old heads like me, or those almost old heads, I like to say, you might want to ask yourself if you need a refresher course in these skills as well. But when I listened to, they didn't have any cameras in the courtroom, but when you heard the witness reports and you heard the different people making commentary about it, I came away with a couple of things. I came away with some key executive functioning skills that would have changed things for both families. And I thought I would talk about it here. And those skills are insight, judgment, impulse control, and emotional regulation. Sort of keeps everything together. It's like the glue that holds those skills together. And I want to talk about each one a little bit. And I want to ask you to do a little self-check to kind of see where you feel you may be with it. So insight is, being able to look into a situation and get information, to get some intel. It's like a gathering of data. When you have good insight, you're able to look inside yourself, consider your perspective, how you're feeling. You're able to look at another person and you're able to gather information about how you think they're feeling, what you think they might be thinking. And you're able to look around your environment and you're gathering data. Is this a dangerous situation? What's happening? Are they a threat to me? How do I get out of here? Can I get out this way? Can I get out that way? It's that information gathering that we need to be doing. People that have good insight are able to think clearly, rationally, consider options, ask themselves what's happening. Now, once you get all that insight and you've got this good understanding of where you are, who you're dealing with, what's happening, then you begin to ask yourself questions about what you should do. This is where the judgment comes in, okay? What should I do? What should I say? Now, the key here is that a lot of people just think one level in. What should I do? No, I shouldn't do that. Or what should I do? Yeah, I'm going to do that. And that's where they stop. No, you got to think a couple levels in. You got to judge this situation a couple levels in. For instance, you're in a situation, there's some road rage going on. You're looking around. You've gathered all your detail. You just pissed somebody off because maybe you turned without putting your signal light on and somebody almost rear-ended you and they're pissed. And they're coming after you. What do? Do you stop your car and get out and engage? Because they now are threatening you. What do? You have to say, okay, if I do that, what's going to happen? Okay, I might have to fight this person. Okay, I may have to hurt this person. Okay, this person may have a weapon. I got a weapon, whatever you're thinking. Okay, what happens if I use my weapon? Okay, this person might not make it. I might not make it. What happens if this person doesn't make it? Oh my goodness. Then I'll have to go to jail and then I'll have to try me and I'll have to see, oh my gosh. You have to be able to think into that situation levels in. That's what good judgment does. It allows you to think levels in and to ask yourself what you should be doing. And then you ask yourself, well, what happens if I do that? Oh, that person might not make it. Okay, what happens if that person may not make it? Oh, I may have to go to jail. Okay, what happens if I have to go to jail? Oh man, I may not be able to get to college, do all my life things. Oh boy, that would be terrible. What happens if this person doesn't live? You have to be able to make those judgment calls and think that level in deep. And the thing that helps you do that is impulse control. You have to be able to pause long enough to give your brain time to do it. And it's got to be quick, because in some situations you might be in a threatening situation and your brain has to move quick through the insight process, judgment, what you're going to do, and then you have to do what you need to do. But you have to do it without impulsivity, because if you move in impulsivity, you're not going to be thinking well. You might perceive something as a racial attack when perhaps it wasn't. You may perceive you're in a threatening environment when perhaps you're not. You know, part of insight gathering is making sure you get the right information so you can make the right judgment, so you can make the right action, the right move. And if you haven't given yourself a pause, time to really think, then you might be moving on wrong information. And it's not going to serve anybody well. Certainly not going to serve you well. It could get you in a lot of trouble. Now, I know we have conflict resolution in schools, and they're trying to teach these skills. I know that. I know that a lot of schools are doing great work here. But there's this thing called emotional regulation, that's really hard for a school system to teach. It really is hard to teach how you teach somebody how to feel, how to manage their emotions. It's a hard thing to teach. It's really something that you want to be working on when that child is, yay high. We used to say yay high to a duck. You got to be working on emotional regulation early. That thing is tough. And I know they're doing the best they can in a lot of schools. They're trying to work on conflict resolution, which is trying to teach kids how to manage their emotions and things like that, and how to move through problem solving, and not just call it problem solving, but to really look at what's happening when you're solving the problem, like insight, judgment, looking at things like that more critically. And I think the key with emotional regulation is we have to bring the temperature down. We got to bring the temperature down, because if you don't have emotional regulation, you're not going to be able to have the pause. You're not going to be able to keep it cool, keep your head level, give yourself time. You see, emotional regulation keeps you from impulsivity. Because when you're hothead, or you jump to a conclusion, or you're scared because, oh my gosh, I've heard all these horrible things about how people treat you. Oh my God, I'm scared. Or, oh my God, if you are emotionally unregulated, you're going to have impulse control issues, because your emotions are going to lead you. Logic slows you down, right? Feelings can hype you up. And that's the thing we have to remember about emotional regulation. And I know I'm sounding preachy today, but this really impacted me, because I just feel sad about the two families and everything that's going on. And I really feel sad about the kid who's not here anymore. I really do. But I also feel sad about the young man that's alive. In some ways, for the next duration, he's got it worse. Because he's going to have to deal with the consequences of his actions. And in a lot of ways, that could be worse. But we're going to hope that he comes out of this situation and he can, have a successful life. And maybe he can go out and help people understand. Like this gentleman I saw on the podcast. I wish I had the name of his, but it was the first time I saw it. Maybe he can, go out when he gets out. Maybe he'll get out, after the 17 years and not have to do the 35. And he can get out, and he can now be a force of helping young people understand this emotional regulation. Let's get this together. Help the younger people understand. Now you want to think about that first, and he can be a force for good, helping to teach people, things that he did not really learn well. At least that's my opinion. But this thing about emotional regulations is dependent on feelings. right? How you feel. And we have to begin to teach ourselves, I think, and to teach our young people that feelings are not facts. Let me say that again. And I know I'm being preachy today, and I don't like to be that way. I like to just be, fun and make jokes and have a good time. But there comes a point when we have to, those people that I think are a little bit more level-headed, who aren't operating in emotional, who have managed to kind of get their emotions regulated. And I've been working on my emotions for a very long time, for decades. We got to start talking, because we need, the cooler heads, I think, need to prevail, is what I like to say. But we have to come to an understanding that feelings are not facts. They're feelings. They are very important. They're God-given, because they give you a check, right? Feelings are not facts. Feelings are a thermostat. That's what I like to say about it. And I'll give you an example. So let's say I live in Vermont. I don't, but let's say I do. It's the dead of winter in Vermont. Snow, 16, 20 inches on the ground. It's cold outside. My thermostat is set on 75. So my thermostat in my house in Vermont in the winter is 75 degrees. But that's only in my house. That's not what's happening outside in Vermont in the winter with 16, 20 inches of snow on the ground. So you see how your feelings can be one way, but that does not necessarily mean that that is what is accurate outside of you. So your feelings are a check for what's going on in you. And they do need to be respected, because your feelings are giving you information. It's data. Like, okay, I'm feeling this way. Why am I feeling this way? Okay, am I feeling this way because of this or because of that? Is this rational that I should be feeling this way? Because just because you feel a certain way does not necessarily make it so. And we have to begin teaching that. Because I think a lot of people are operating under, if I feel it, then it's my reality. And then therefore it needs to be everybody else's reality. And you can't make that, you can't do that, because people don't operate that way. Life doesn't operate that way. And you get yourself into trouble by making decisions that you did not have time to think through, because your feelings may have dictated that action. And I want people to understand that feelings have their place. They're there to give you data, to let you know, hey, something's going on. What's happening? Pay attention. That's the job of your feelings. Then after you get that check, hey, stop, wait a minute, pay attention. You need to move your feelings over here. And now you need to operate from insight. Okay, what's happening? I see this, I see this, I see this, I hear this. What's going on over here? How am I feeling here? What do I think this person is feeling? Get all that data, get that insight. Once you get that insight, then you start asking yourself, okay, what do I need to do? Do I run? Do I fight back? Do I need to escalate this further? What's going to happen if I do? If I do that, this could happen to this person. This could happen to me. Will I go to jail? Will that person go to jail? Will I have to go to trial? How long will it be? Wait a minute. I got a great future. I don't think I want to do any of that. I'm trying to, go to college, or I'm trying to have a business, or I'm trying to, go home to my 4 kids. I'm trying to get married next week. Whatever your thing is, that judgment gives you the chance to think through your situation a couple levels in, and you can ask yourself, do you really want this? And you have time to say, you know what, I don't think I want to do that. Okay, what do I need to do then? Okay, I need to get out of this. How do I get out of this? Okay, the best way I can get out of this is this way. Okay, let me do that. And you walk away to live another day or to be free another day. But you have to have emotional regulation. You have to be operating from emotional regulation. Teach your kids early. Reteach yourself if you feel that you don't quite have a good grasp of your feelings. I mean, you can't keep going through the world thinking everything is against you and everybody has a motive against you, because that primes you to see the world differently. That primes you to have a different judgment. That primes you to act and move differently. Now, am I saying do not pay attention to your feelings? Oh, hell no. You have to pay attention to your feelings. They are the first step If you dull your feelings, then you end up in a situation like some unfortunate people who may feel a little uncomfortable around a situation or around a person and sit there anyway and then end up in a bad situation. No, ma'am. Your feelings are the first sign. That's the first thing you pay attention to. How am I feeling? What's going on? Okay, wait a minute. My stomach is feeling a little nervous. Wait a minute. My heart rate is picking up. Okay, wait a minute. I'm breathing kind of shallow here. Wait a minute. I'm starting to feel a little angry. I'm starting to get a little hot. I'm mad. Or wait a minute. I'm starting to get a little scared here. Wait a minute. What's going on? This is not good. And you got to be able to do that quick. You got to practice it. So I just want to talk about that today. And this is That Talking Gal, my channel. I get to talk about what I want to. But you guys know that ultimately everything is coming from a place of love. I want the best for people. And I'm kind of a combination of Booker T. Washington, Frederick Douglass with a little bit of MLK, because I believe we need to get back to judging people by their character, content of their character and not the color of their skin. We got to get back to that, y'all. We have to get back to that. We have to get back to cooler heads prevailing. We got to get back to a little bit of stoicism. If you don't know what that word is, that's your day's job. That's your task for the day. Go look up stoicism. We've been running on feelings, like 100% feelings, maybe not 100%, but 80, 90% feelings in our culture. We do have we had a very, is the word hedonistic culture, where everything's motivated by feelings and pleasure. I think we may have to pull that back a little bit because our feelings have begun to lead the horse. And we need to put the feelings back in their proper place. And the thing about stoicism is it does a lot of keeping your feelings in check and, thinking and pausing and being more logical, because we want to balance. We don't want feelings to be too far out ahead, because feelings can get us in trouble if they're not checked. Because like I said, feelings are not facts. Feelings are a thermostat. They tell you how you're feeling on the inside. They tell you if you need to pay attention. Feelings are your big sticky. It's your yellow highlighter. That's what your feelings are. And it's important, but it ain't all the facts. Like you taking a test and you highlight a definition, that highlighter is telling you, the highlighter being your feelings, pay attention to this word. You need to pay attention. But that word is not the whole chapter. It's not all the information. So feelings in their proper place is what we need to do. So y'all got that? Insight, judgment, impulse control, and emotional regulation. Try those things on for size, all right? So we're going to just head on out, get my day going, finish drinking my coffee, finish up my little quiet time here. But I had to hop on here, guys. I had to. So you guys know I do the long form content, so y'all used to my ramblings by now. But anyway, love you all to bits, and I will see you next time. Bye.